Alright, boys and girls, it's time for the bit we've been waiting for all year, and that is the Furnishing Design Contest winners have been announced. So if you don't know, there's a sort of like a Furnishing Design Contest every year or every 2 years for the game, and basically people get to create their own art and, really think about what they would like to have in the game. What would be a really nice thing to have inside your house? Apart from, obviously, the first answer being more housing. No, we can't solve that in this video. What we can do is talk about all of the amazing new things that people could add to their houses. So be that toilets, we haven't actually got one of those. Be that, towel holders, we actually have those recently. Sort of things like that. So not necessarily functional items, but decorative items, or, a fat cat sofa, for example, was the last sort of thing we got in the previous contest. So this is always a big deal because a lot of the time I'm going to be previewing a lot of these things in videos, and a lot of people are going to be designing their houses and, creating amazing screenshots with some of these items inside. So a lot of the people who do get through this, and get their items put into the game, there's nothing more humbling than people actually using them worldwide. So it's always a big deal. So let's look at the actual winners. So this time around, they've picked a fair amount of winners, and we have their concept art. So I'm going to be butchering names here, and just for the purpose of not insulting anyone, if it's a Japanese name, I'm just going to elect not to read it, just out of respect, because obviously I'm English, and this would be terrible. If I went through Google Translate, it would be a field, be an absolute crap show. So the first winner then, I guess this is the grand winner, like the top one. We actually have two here, so this is cool. The first one is, as you would imagine, a big white sheet which is curved at the bottom there, which is used as a photo studio. This is something that really should win. I mean, it's a no-brainer. A lot of people have been using white partitions, and then obviously a troop stage, so stuff like that, and then the specular lighting, and sort of trying to get a decent sort of background to take pictures in. We have this amazing G-pose feature. It would be great if we got to use it. Well, one of the winners this time around is this curved sheet here, which is this big sort of like stage for you to take pictures on. This is something we didn't have previously. Now, obviously, my, biggest sort of question here is this going to be dyeable to chroma key green? Because that would be incredibly useful. And my second question would be, is this really wide enough to really get that sort of, if I'm going to chroma key with this, I want it to be big enough. And I think the people taking pictures normally with a white background would like a slightly bigger, sort of platform than this. They're using a Lalafell in this artwork as a demonstration of the character, which probably isn't a good representation of its size. So hopefully Square Enix adapt this to be much bigger. Otherwise, you're going to get a Rogadin on there, and he's going to fill the entire thing, and you're not going to be able to take a picture. So that's a really good idea and a really good winner for certain, but that's my basic concerns when I look at this design. The second one here appears to be one of those L-shaped sort of futon style floor sofas. So it's like cushions on the floor, but it sort of has a blanket on it. I don't really know where they're going to go with this. It's kind of cool. I like the idea of sitting on this. We have sofa cushions on the floor, those plush cushions, I believe they're called. So it's nice to have more decorative stuff like this, more comfy, sort of cozy, relaxing things. I can imagine this sort of L-shaped sofa type thing right next to an open fire, for example, stuff like that. And they have a Mandragora stitched, I think, there on one of the pillows. Pretty good entry. It's definitely up there, and it's interesting to see that was one of the chosen entries to win, so congratulations to both of you so far. Next up, we have the outdoor stage garden. Now, this person in particular is obviously a person after my own heart. So this was made by ink_mad, and they show here a character doing the bard perform action, and we've got this sort of elaborate stage design with those two lights, and then we have the crotchets and quavers, the notation behind him there. That's a really cool idea. Outdoor performances are big in the game at the moment. People love using macros or third-party tools to actually play music through the game, and it really does bring in some crowds, and especially with the new estate tags and the idea of people running concerts in the game, this is a great idea and allows people to do more stuff outside. I said this before, but there's a lot of outside and outdoors furnishing stuff that doesn't really do that much. There's not really much use out of the outdoor space other than planting vegetables and things. So this is a really cool idea. I'm glad this one entered, and I'm glad this one actually got through as a winner. I cannot wait to actually get that in the game, so thank you to InkMad in particular for actually designing something I will personally use myself. We also have the Murat styled sofa by Sears. So this is fantastic. As you can see here, we have this sort of, I love that actually, the Art Deco sort of design there with, what is that, brass or gold, and then that leather sort of reclined thing there. It kind of reminds me of the stuff you would see when you visit a psychiatrist or something like that. At the start of Grand Theft Auto 5 where Michael sat in one of those chairs. It's fantastic. I cannot wait to get that in the game. It's definitely different, and I like the idea that it's slightly curved at the edges there. Very, very stylish, and it suits the theme of Murat theme. So next we have a tabletop item. This is another winner. This is the Mughal popcorn basket. So you've always wanted those finishing touches. Maybe you've made a cinema. We've got some amazing seats, and we can create the illusion of a cinema scene in the actual housing areas. Maybe you wanted some popcorn. Now you've got it. And believe it or not, this is also dyeable, I believe. So you'll be able to dye the actual popcorn itself. And they show here caramel, Roland berry, something mysterious. And they also show a size comparison. I love this in particular. It's just one of those small detailed items that they'd be a fool not to enter into the game. So I'm glad they chose this. And that was made by PM. Obviously, with this Japanese name, I cannot pronounce that. So that's a really cool idea, though. I'm glad they put that in. Now we have this. I'm not really sure what this is. Forgive me. Really do forgive me. Is this a sort of like a mosaic, like a tiled mosaic? It looks to me like an 8-bit chocobo that you put on a wall or something, but obviously I don't read Japanese. People will have to correct me in the comment section. I do, apologize. I didn't look into this as much as maybe I should have before making this video. But yeah, whatever that is, I love chocobos and I love 8-bit style, so the more the better, really. If this is sort of like wall tiles, I will be incredibly happy though, because I can imagine this in a bathroom for sure. Next up, we have one of these, and I've seen these at certain garden centers in real life. It's basically where there's like a bit at the top and a bit at the bottom, and it shines light through beads of water that are sprayed directly downwards. Sometimes they have wire in them as well as like decorations, but for the most part, it's just basically a spray of water going down, and then you have a slight illumination across that water. And this is a fantastic idea for the in-game areas, especially for housing. You can see there with the character size, the comparison, it's absolutely huge, and I hope they keep that sort of size as well. This would be great for decorating, those large basement areas in a large mansion plot. So yeah, I'm amazed with that one. That's really cool. I'm glad we're getting something like that in the game, so thank you to you there. Thank you for making that. And conversely, next to it, we have what appears to be a bowl of salad, but it's actually full of cactuars. I don't really know where to start with this. It's fantastic. It's kind of like a rock garden in a bowl with like sabatenders. I like it. I don't know what this is. It's just a piece of decoration, presumably a tabletop item. I want it as much as I see it, so that's a plus for me. But yeah, it's really cool. I love to see people create some things that I would have never have thought of putting in myself, and especially from the Asian designers, they think of things that my brain would never ever imagine, and the game's better off for it. We also have a Blackboard that's getting added to the game, made by Alundre here. I believe I've butchered your name, Alundre, but fantastic. It says Blackboard, option to write on, ? Wall mounted, dyeable frame, eraser, chalk. Having a place where you could actually write something in the game might be slightly controversial, because obviously people will just put, bad words, rude words all over it. But having it as a background thing that you can't write on could be cool as well, especially considering they're trying to make things for different role-play environments. So maybe we could have this as like a classroom, and then we could have the chairs and the tables. You could make like a little classroom type area. We do actually already have a Blackboard in the game. I believe it's in the Pillars of Ishgard, inside the there's that study area. Basically, there's a quest, and you go in there, and there's like loads of dudes working on studying, and there's a big blackboard in the background. Maybe they could just repurpose that and give us that as housing stuff. That would be cool. But I like the idea of writing on stuff, but I just don't know how much, freedom we'll have with that in a game where they're very restricted on the sort of things they allow people to do, especially if you can write, naughty things on a board. I'm not sure they'll go with that. Next to that, we also have this beautiful flower display by SH there, I believe that says. What a fantastic idea. The idea that you can display flowers. They're trying to show here the idea that you can change these pots and actually put the flower seeds, I imagine, that you can already get in the game in them. Or maybe this is just a set design of flowers. We have things like the mineral display housing item. We have the bakery stuff. It really makes sense to have flowers in there as well, especially if you're going to make an indoor garden section. That would look absolutely fantastic. Even if they did this as an exterior feature, this would be a great item. So I'm 100% behind that. And yeah, it's one of those no-brainers. Again, they need to add this to the game as soon as possible. And they could even add this to Gatherer scripts. There you go. Gatherer yellow scripts, sorted, done. This one's a little bit cool. I like this a lot. This is the Morodian Spire Chandelier by Mao. This is essentially a light fixture for your house in the style of those spirals that we see when we go over to Amarot in that last zone in Shadowbringers. And I really like the idea of this. I think a lot of people will. They say 3 lighting colours, orange, yellow and blue. Alternatively, the 2 upper tiers can be the same colour and the upper and middle tiers rectangular there. Yeah, it's a fantastic idea. I wish they would do more stuff, centered around our Morodian design. We've saw previously a couple of items, so it's clear to me that the people who play this game would love to see more. Next to that, we have a DIY bench. This reminds me of something like out of the Untitled Goose Game. All these little boxes of things you can steal. I don't know, ever since I've played that game, I've just wanted to steal things. It's like, it's awoken the inner kleptomaniac inside me for some reason. But yeah, we have this DIY workbench with sort of tools and buckets and things underneath it. Again, a very easy thing to implement into the game. But yeah, quite interesting. It would be interesting to see if we could move those individual items as well. Those buckets, those, terracotta pots and things. But who knows at this point. Next up, we have a bamboo screen. This is something that I don't believe we have in the game. We have sort of decorative screen doors that we can put inside our houses, like little partitions. But I don't believe we have a bamboo one. I don't know if this is glowing because of a light inside of it, or if that's just the particular colour they went with. I would like the idea of that lighting up, to be honest. It could make sort of that sort of oriental restaurant look. I would love that personally, especially for basement areas. It would look pretty damn cool. Yeah, I like that. That's something that I thought was already in the game, so that's immediately a plus from me. Next, we have decorative items, I believe. These are sort of like steampunk-esque pipes and valves with steam coming out of them. This is something we see usually in sort of like as extra details inside dungeons, especially when we have Garlean-style dungeons and places in castrums, etc. So it's cool. I would like to see this in the house. You want to make it look like that house is actually a real thing. Maybe you want the under the stairs section to have these pipes with spraying jets of steam. That would look amazing. So I'm all behind that one as well. That's a really cool idea. Next, we have the Azim Step Cabinet. This is by Mint, apparently. And this is basically another sort of armoire style thing. And we have a mirrored cabinet here. So we have the front, the back, the sides there. It looks very good. It's something that we could instantly have in the game. Again, I would like to see the actual mirror actually function as a mirror in this game for once. But, that might be too difficult depending. It's a cool idea regardless, isn't it? Next to that, we have another entry. This is basically a big, soft, plushy sort of sofa thing, a big cushion. I don't know where I was going with that. But yeah, that's, again, another thing that would be very easy to implement. I believe this is showing actually putting a crest on there. That would be a cool idea. If it isn't, then I apologize. But the idea of putting your grand company, free company rather, crest onto actually a piece of furniture like this would be pretty awesome. But yeah. Next we have another water feature. I love water features. This is the deluxe indoor bamboo fountain by Leon. What a beautiful design. First of all, your artwork is fantastic. What an amazing illustration there. Second of all, I love bamboo. I love water features. And I love the one outside that goes poo every now and again, with the water. That's one of my favorite things in the game. So yeah, I would love that indoors. We also have over here, right next to it, this very funky looking storage design. We have a few things like this in the game, but none quite as elaborate as that. We have like a coat stand on there. I suppose they could do all of these items individually or add it to the actual piece of furniture. Personally, I like having gaps in the furniture myself to put my own things on these storage cabinets, sort of predetermined with what's on them. I quite like the idea of this one, but we already have some of that in the game. So, this isn't as groundbreaking per se as some of the other items. Next up, we have this item, which is one of those like swing chairs. I absolutely love these in real life, and this is in the shape of a Pizer. That's pretty much why it was, it won. It won one of the entries because it's that fantastic. It's really well designed, this sort of like wicker basket design with the obvious Pizer motif. And then they show some different colors there at the bottom. Fantastic. What's next? We have the Sears Kit Divine Cross by Meoni. So this is another actual entry winner, and it's quite surprising. This is all to do with the Astrologian cards, as you know, with the Arcana, the 6 major Arcana cards. And it's basically like sort of like a fortune teller's sort of table sort of design. It's cool, regardless. Apparently this is coming to the game. I cannot wait to see this in the actual game. It's definitely quite a decorative item. I'm quite surprised, honestly, they actually allowed this one in, especially considering, how tricky that subject is in terms of like making things for it. Usually they don't make too complicated items in the actual game. So I'm interested to see how that's going to be obtained. Next up, we have one of the best items. This is a cake and some, I believe this is like orange... What is it? Orange syrup or something like that you pour over the top, or just normal syrup. Basically looks like a big knob of butter that's melting on the top of 2 massive pancakes. But obviously these are like cakes. And then you have a little bowl of syrup. Or I think it's honey. Yeah, there we go. Honey on top of this. This is obviously like a Japanese meal or something that I'm completely ignorant of. Looks fantastic. I love cakes. My stomach is rumbling at this moment just because I'm looking at this cake. Even though it's a drawing on a piece of paper on the internet. That's pretty much how my body works. Beautiful. And then, what can I say? I mentioned it at the start of the video, but I didn't honestly think there was going to be one in. But we finally have a toilet in the game. A Mandragora Toilet. I don't know. I think my work is done here, sort of, promoting and supporting these events, because we've reached our peak here. We have here an item which your character can sit on, do their business on, and presumably flush. I would love the ability to actually flush this. They say here the notes that they want interactable furnishing. They want to actually lift the lid up and down. They say it's a mix of wood and ceramics, can be dyed and can be sat on. That's pretty much what everybody in the community has wanted for the longest time, an actual toilet. As you know, in Eorzea, your character never goes to the bathroom. It's unusual to say the least, especially for the sort of stuff that they have to put up with. You'd think they'd be visiting that quite a bit. So yeah, they went with it. They accepted it, and we're getting a toilet. So this is groundbreaking, earth-shattering sort of stuff. I look forward to pooping in a game soon. Next up, we have this. Wow, I mean, this is just like a big cupboard full of liquor. I love this by SH. Basically looks like the liquor aisle of a supermarket, doesn't it? It's fantastic. I love this idea. This would be great behind a bar sort of scene, Wild West sort of saloon style. I like it. Really cool. And then next to it, we have yet another cake, this time in the shape of a fat cat. I mean, I want that in real life. Look how beautiful that is with the strawberries or raspberries on the side there. I think they're strawberries. That sort of chocolate sort of liquid coming out. Oh, it's making me hungry. I have to scroll down. Now we have this, which is, oh, I believe I know what this is. This is supposed to be the Lalafell or dwarf, inverted commas, doors that you see and windows. So the Lalafell dwarf sized furnishing things that we see over in Tomra. If you've ever been in that part of Shadowbringers, you'll know what I mean. I can completely understand why people want these, and you know, they could just directly work off of the same thing. I'm not sure how this is going to work in terms of the higher and, you know, the Ellazan and Rogadins actually getting into said building. Perhaps that's the idea. Maybe they're not functional. I don't know. Either way, it was a winner. So maybe it's a decorative door that doesn't work. Otherwise, you're going to have your head clipping through this thing like madness if you enter there, if you're not a Lalafell. Unless it is Lalafell only, like in Tomra, which would surprise me quite considerably. And next to that, we have this beautiful velvet sort of seat. This is the sort of thing you'd see in a theatre or, you know, like the Beehive in Yulmore, something like that. It's dyeable, looks beautiful. Yeah, I thought this sort of thing was already in the game. It apparently isn't, and it's very grandiose, and I would like it. Is it like the... I'm not sure if this is a bed or a table or... I don't know. I would like a bed made of that material. That would be pretty swanky. Next we have, well, this is a bomb stove type cauldron made by Cinderpelt. What a fantastic idea. We have the bomb stove in a game, which is in the shape roughly of a bomb, but this is a cauldron. I like the idea of cauldrons. People are role-playing witches and wizards, as you see there with the Lalafell, stirring the potion and throwing in loads of bottles of stuff. That's a really cool idea. I love those little extra touches there on this illustration. There we have the Carbuncle Couch. This is definitely going to be something that people go wild for. The idea that we have the topaz and the emerald carbuncle either side, those beautiful cushions, the stylized fabric there, the dyeability, absolutely fantastic. Julius here has pretty much hit the nail on the head of what everybody wanted. I love the way that the tails flare up like that. It makes it look like a really royal sofa. I would pay money for this one, actually. That's fantastic. Really well done. Now, as much as I would love to continue looking at all of these, we're already like 25 minutes in, and honestly, some of these designs are fantastic. So basically, there's a lot of really cool stuff coming to the game, as you can see here as we scroll down. I'm sorry that I can't look at all of these in detail. It would just take forever, but I would advise you come to this website. I will link this in the description and just have a look for yourself over the remaining ones. We have everything from a Mughal vending machine to wigwams to statues to the same thing that we had inside the Ocular, inside the Crystarium. Yeah, the amount of talent and creativity this time around for 2019's Furniture Design Contest has just been insane, and I'm so happy that some, or I would hope all of these, will eventually make it into the game. The people who did manage to get prizes this time around all get the Cloud Strife hairstyle, which is a very unique reward, and I'm so happy they get something for all of their effort. Some of these designs must have taken months to create. Yeah, and ultimately what's the biggest reward is you're going to see this in the actual game. So yeah, thank you once again to everyone who entered, obviously, this contest, for actually, supporting the game as much as you do and dedicating your time to adding new stuff that we as the players have wanted for the longest time, including toilets and various cakes and things. Yeah, I can't tell you how excited I am to see some of this stuff. There's no detail on when this stuff is going to be making it into the game, probably over the next couple of years. It usually takes that long, and it's sort of sporadically introduced them in small doses every patch. So yeah, Shadowbringers has a long way to go, and hopefully we see some of this stuff before the end of it, especially that fantastic photo studio. Either way, thank you for watching this video. Let me know what your favourite design on this massive list was, what your thoughts are on the Mandragora Toilet, and I'll see you all next time.